KF6QNG, W6DQ.
Okay. Squeaky mic cable. Anyway, well, nothing really more to add right here. So just looking forward to the round table, and that's it. So it goes over to
N6AF.
N6AF from KF6QNG.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. November 6th, Alpha Fox. Happy household. My wife, Mary, just flew back late this afternoon from Los Angeles and had a good flight. So we have a rebalanced household. I won't talk about the news. It's kind of depressing. You probably heard what occurred in Halfling Bay. So I'll just keep it light. So tonight, I admit I'm on a K3 because the Atlas 210X that I normally use is on the bench. I'm trying to troubleshoot it to see why its output power is a bit low on 20 and 15 meters. So, always a challenge. And I apologize, I didn't catch the call sign that I'm supposed to pass it to, so I appreciate the host, so I'll just pass it back to you, and then you can scoot it that way. I'm sorry. N6AF, back to the group.
N6AF, I forgot your name. Could you repeat that?
I'm sorry, say again?
Your name.
Oh, Chuck. How's it going?
I thought it was
Chuck.
I got to write it down here. It goes over to Max, KJ6, and Max over to Gary, WA7BIP, and then back to me, and then we'll ask for some more checks.
Okay. Really good. Here's KJ6A10 at the microphone. From Darwin, California. And to the gathering group. Sounds good. Good question of the evening about soldering irons, soldering guns, and life is good here. So let's see. I'll just turn it over to the next person in line here. I think it's WA7JIP from KJ6A10 in the group.
Well, that might be me. This is Gary, WA7BIP, Bravo India Puma. Thanks, Max. This is Gary and Duarte. And not much to say here. We're still dealing with the 24/9, or 20 dB over 9 noise source. And I managed to use the noise blanker and on this old Kenwood 830S to use the noise blanker and turn the AGC off, and I'm able to hear people. So we'll try to see how I can hold up through the net here. Anyway, I could not hear who it goes to next, so whoever's next, you got it. This is WA7BIP.
Here they go straight up. Yeah, WA7BIP, AK6R. It goes back to me, Gary. And you got a good signal. In fact, everybody signals 10 over at least, and Dennis, you're peaking at 20 over. So, yeah, nice signals. Right. Let's keep it up. The next I have on the list is WI6R, but before I turn it over to you, Dave, let's see if there's anybody else that wants to get on the list. Come now, please.
K2LM2,
November 4, Delta, Lima, Alpha.
You got WJ6W and K2LMQ. Who else?
November 4, Delta, Lima, Alpha.
N4DLA, got you. Anybody else? Okay, a lot evened out the next four, so we'll just take those folks. It goes over first to Dave, WI6R, WI6R, then over to WJ6W, and then over to K2LMQ, and then over to N4DLA, and then back to me. Go ahead and take it, Dave, WI6R, and Happy New Year. I don't think I've talked to you this year at all, so go ahead and take one.
Yeah, real fine. Thanks, Bob. AK6R and the group from WI6R, Dave in Kingman, Arizona.
Boy, you're booming in here. You're 30 over 9, Bob. So fantastic signal here tonight. Most everybody's perfectly Q5 copy. We've got lots of competition from the east, but everybody here so far is winning that battle, and hopefully we're not bothering them either. So that's all I've got here for now. Interesting question for tonight, an appropriate one, I think. And we'll pass it on. I think it goes to Dave, WJ6W.
I think it's, yes, I guess it does. Hi, Dave. WJ6W here. Dave in Tarzana. And I wonder if you got NI6Q on the list.
Yes, you
there, Bob. Anyway, I'll put him down if you haven't. So, Dave in Tarzana running the Drake C line here tonight in the 30L1. So we'll send it over to Paul. See you to K2LMQ, WJ6W.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, all. WJ6W and the gang. K2LMQ. Good evening, all. This is Paul in Kingman, Arizona. And tonight I'm running the Yaesu FT101B into the 30L1 and the inverted V at 75 feet. And Dave was right about the East Coast QRM, but everybody seems to be coming through okay. So let me toss it over to N4DLA and the gang, K2LMQ.
Okay, thanks, K2LMQ and the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable Prenet from N4DLA, Matthew in Orinda in the Bay Area. I'll just wait for the net. Good question for this evening. Interesting to hear. And Dave, WI6R, out there in Kingman, I don't know if it's still snowy, but you're 10 over here in the Bay Area. So back to AK6R from N4DLA.
The Rocket. Yeah, N4DLA from AK6R. And I got Brian on the list too, so Brian, why don't you go ahead and take one? NI6Q from AK6R.
Yes, okay, AK6R. This is NI6Q here. Returning. Well, good copy on you, and everyone else so far. I think we're in good shape there, so we'll find out soon. Back to you, and I'll be listening. NI6Q.
Yeah, NI6Q, AK6R, yeah, very good. Paul, you were 30 over that time. Just a beautiful signal coming in here. You and Dennis are tied for the top of the list. So that's good. Well, I'm sitting out here in the garage and it's pretty cold and I don't have a heater, so I'm talking real fast here. And this is Bob in Fallbrook, if you don't know or remember. And haven't been on for a couple weeks, so it's good to get back on here and get some acquaintances going. We're running about 1,200 watts right now, about 1,000 watts, I guess. And into a loop antenna up about 40 feet. That's what's going on. Let's see if anybody else wants to get on the list. Please come now if you want to get on the list, and we haven't got to there.
Does anybody else hear the QSB on Bob's signal?
Yes.
It's his amplifier.
Okay, I'm not sure what that QSB is.
Yeah, it's going in and out, and almost completely out, and then coming back, real rapid.
Well, I don't know what that is. Is it still happening?
No.
Okay, well, maybe turn the compressor off.
Maybe
But hopefully this is a little bit better.
To grab a bit away from the mic.
What was that comment?
I think you were looking towards the refrigerator, imagining that you're going to have a beer and you were away from your mic.
Hold on a second, I have to go get a beer.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are sounding all good. You know my tricks, I guess. Anybody got any pre-net announcements to make right now?
Sounds, Bob, like almost your amplifier is dropping out.
There's something going on, Bob. It's going into distortion, Bob.
Can I ask one question, please?
Go ahead. What are you running?
Sorry, I got down here late and was talking to my wife. I told her she just got back from LA. I missed the question of the evening, so I'm all ears, ready to copy. Stand by.
Is that you, Rocco?
Yeah, it is. You ready to give me a list?
Yeah, I'm ready to give you a list. You ready to write it down?
Yeah, shoot.
Okay, here it comes. K6KOI, John. Followed by K2RP, Ron. Followed by W6COM, Tom. Larry, W2. Next is Vaughn, K6ZGA. Skip K6LGL.
I keep going.
Okay, 16 in the top 5. The next is WA9JIB, Bob. Goes CB6OQJ, Wayne. W6DQ, KF6QNG, Dennis and Lead Service. And N6 Alpha Fox, and KJ6HN Max.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, next is W87 Boston Papa, that's Siri. WI6 Radio Dave. And then WJ6W Dave. And K2LMQ is Paul. N4 Log Lima Alpha is Matthew. And NI6Q is Brian. That's the list that I have.
Okay, I've got all those. Anybody else other than those named?
NY6L Hesperia.
Okay, I got NY6L. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you very much, Bob, for taking that. And I'm going to put you after Larry and before Vaughn. Okay?
Yeah, Roger, appreciate it. You got a nice signal tonight, Roger.
Oh, thank you. Okay, let's get going. I'm going to try to get as much in as I can before the band goes long. If we have to QSY, I'd like to go to 53, unless anybody has a better idea. But right now, it's just fine. Okay, so I'm going to use the short preamble. Welcome, everybody, to the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable. This is Rocco, N6KN, in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. I'm the host for this evening's roundtable. Let's see, tonight I'm using 32S3, driving a 30L1, and the receiver is the 75A4. We meet each Tuesday evening at or near 3895 kilohertz. All of us should be using equipment that was manufactured before 1981 or home-built equipment with equivalent technology. First-timers, however, may use modern equipment. So, I have an announcement, and then I'll ask for other announcements. So here's the announcement. There will be a vintage single sideband barbecue at my house. That's N6KN's house in Rancho Palos Verdes, suburb of Los Angeles. This will be Saturday, April 22. Let me say it again, Saturday, April 22nd at 11 a.m. And we'll be putting out more information as we get close, but save the date. Okay, are there any questions about that announcement? Good. Okay, well, we've done this before at my house and had an awfully good time, and I'd love to do it again, so it's coming up. All right, we do have a question of the evening, and I'm going to read it now. So all of us, hams, have a general purpose soldering iron or gun. However, when you have a soldering job that needs a big iron, such as when you're soldering a lead to a copper chassis, such as on a Drake R4A, as I did yesterday, or if you have a a job that needs a very small iron, for example, for SMD work, which make and model do you use? And how much approximately do you think that specialty iron would cost? Now, if you have a pet iron that your uncle gave to you back in 1957 and weighs 47 pounds, fine. We'll talk about it. Love to hear the story. But we also want to hear about irons and guns that you can buy today. Okay? That's the question. All right. And at the end of the net, I will award a golden cup to whoever has the best answers. Okay? Here we go. The first four will be K6KOI. John, take it. Give it to Ron, K2RP. I know you give it to him all the time. Ron, give it to Tom, W6TOM. And Tom, please give it to Larry, W6WUH. K6KOI, go ahead.
Okay, good signal here, Rocco, K6KOI, and I've changed microphones. This is John in Del Mar, and I'm using the KWM2A, a 3001, and now a D104 mic. And to answer the question, for the heavy-duty stuff, like, for instance, the ground for the shield to the coax connectors, I use a Weller, and it is it's an A watt, I almost said amp, A watt iron. It really does the job. And it costs less than $100. I bought it so long ago I can't remember the exact amount. For the small stuff, I also use a Weller. It's a soldering station, a WES51. And again, so many years ago, I've had this thing probably 20 years. I have no idea what they sell for now. But I have a variety of tips, and one tip is a real long and very, very fine at the end tip that I can use for SMD, or I have a hot air station that came from China, and it was very economical, and I didn't write down the model number, but I'm sure they come and go, and so you do a search, and you'll find something from China. And by the way, I also use one of the other nozzles for heat shrink. Okay, that's it. Onward, upward, K2RP, K6KOI.
Okay, thanks, John. Thanks to Bob for your release, to Rocco for being his loud self there in Rancho Palos Verdes. Looking forward to the barbecue. Put us down for two, and we'll be there. And before I go into soldering, Rocco, you mentioned something about working on an R4A. I think I have an original R4A manual kicking around here somewhere, and I don't have an R4A. So if you need one on the next go around, let me know if you need it, and I'll pop it in the mail to you. Soldering, I have an old Radio Shack soldering station, which is on its last legs. I think I'm going to replace. I have a just a 100-watt or so soldering gun I use mostly, which I probably had for literally 50 years. And I have a big, I think it's a Weller soldering gun, kind of on steroids there. Very, what's happening here? I think I'm, I don't know. Am I still making it there?
You're all right. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I have a big Weller. I think it's a 175 watt. And that's about all. So I'm going to turn it over to Tom and Rocco. Let me know about that manual. W6TOM, K2RP.
K2RP, W6TOM here. Good evening, everybody. I'm on my Omni D 10-tech tonight driving a Heathkit amp for about 800,000 watts soldering irons. Okay, I have a I bought it about 2 years ago. Whatever the latest Weller temperature-controlled soldering station is. My old one I couldn't get parts for anymore. I have another Weller here somewhere too that's a temperature-controlled, but it's not adjustable. I also have a butane soldering iron, and that comes in handy at times, places where there's no power. But then I have the Godzilla iron. It's a Sears Model 53-832. I bought this thing 40 years ago, maybe even closer to 50. I actually found the thing, I did an internet search for it. I found one that had sold on eBay the end of December last year. I'm sure it's not available. But anyway, that's what we've got. So let me hand it to Larry, W6WUH, W6TOM.
Okay, W6TOM in the group. W6WUH, very good. Well, what do I do with my notes? I wrote this down and now I can't find it. Anyway, all three of the soldering guns that I have, here they are, all happen to be Weller. The Big Bertha is a Weller D550, and it's a two-speed job, 240 watts or 325 watts. The smaller Weller gun is an 8200, 100/140 watts, and then the temperature-controlled soldering station, which is what I use almost all the time, is a Weller Tango Charlie 201, part of the WTCP series. And all of these were bought used at the ham radio flea markets. The 8200 Weller, the 140 watt one, is one of the earlier versions with brass tubes that come out of the secondary winding that actually have threaded nuts that hold the soldering tip onto the main connection with them. The newer ones have aluminum tubes with a set screw, and they're absolute trash. The screws strip out, and the dissimilar metals mean that there's always corrosion going on between the element and the gun itself, so you're forever trying to tighten it to make it work. So my original soldering gun when I was a boy, which I got when I was 12, was essentially one of these 8200s. And I had it until I was about 45 years old, and I was working for some old folks, and I think out on their well or something, and I had to solder something up, and I had an extension cord and the gun lying out on the ground, and the woman came who was absolutely blind and drove over and destroyed it, which broke my heart. And I got one of the newer Wellers with the aluminum tubes, which was useless and it crapped out in a matter of months. But a few years ago, I went to a ham radio flea market, and a guy had two beautiful Wellers sitting there on the table. They still have the price tags on them. I paid $10 for the 8200 and $15 for the Big Bertha. So that's my story. The temperature-controlled soldering station, I don't know, it's been here on the workbench for 25 or 30 years, and it was used when I got it, so that's all I can say. I think you put Bob in the list, and he's next. AK6R, W6WUH. And I have nothing for SMD.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'll see what I can do here. Let's... Okay. Bob, AK Starring tonight. We're running a flex range the other night. AK180 is out of service. Normally what I use, and we have a big rainstorm here. The garage apartment.
Wood, Texas.
Anyway, running about, looks like about 600 watts per hour. cut the power turn down a little bit. Do a loop antenna up about 14. Good question.
Big trucks, Bob, I have to put
One inquiry before I answer the question. I bought a interesting radio at the swap meet on Saturday, and it's a cubic radio, and it looks like it's a 5-channel radio, very similar to a MX100. And it's got 5 channels on it, and the model number is a Charlie Mike X-ray dash Delta Papa DP. And it's got upper sideband and lower sideband on it. And well, gee, I just put a crystal in there for this frequency, and I'll be on the air. But I can't find any information on that radio at all. So if anybody's got any, let me know, and we'll see if we can get the thing on the air and be an interesting radio. Looks like an MX100 on the back, but just a channelized selector. Okay, back to the question. We have here the Weller WES51 all over the place. Best little soldering station I think of that I know. And you can pick those up at the swap meets and stuff for about $100 or less. Completely reconditioned, by the way. I used to get them at the Yuma Ham Fest, which is no longer. And there was a guy over there who had 10 or 20 of them, and he just bought a couple of them. Right. But because, and John mentioned this, you can buy all different types of tips for it, from all the way up to about 3/8 of an inch down to a very needle nose point. And they work just great. They're variable temperature, and you can use them for just about anything. For the big jobs, actually have an old Weller gun, but I'll tell you what works really quick and fast is the firewood starters. The little things you buy for $3 or $4 put out a heck of a lot of heat, and you just pull the trigger and it heats it up very quickly, and it takes solder very nicely. So that's kind of a little trick of the trade, but they work really well for temperature solder. As far as coax connectors and those types of things, we use the crimp on. It's much faster, a lot easily straight. Put it together. That's my 2 cents. And thanks for taking the Rocco. Like I say, you got a great signal. And looking forward to the barbecue. I can't remember what I won last time when it was there, but we always have a good time. And I think
if I can get one of them silver wind-offs to
back to you.
on some eggs, I'm probably going to get my own, because they can't eat what you get now subject to...
Yeah, okay, Bob. Let me see if I can get on frequency. 1, 2. Well, your signal has QSB. Sounds to me maybe like an antenna. Has a loose connection, something like that. But you're up and down at least 20 dB. In and out, just kind of randomly. So I agree with the other comments. But thank you, firewood starter. Blowtorch. All right, let's go to the next 4. K6ZTA. Vaughn, you take it, give it to Skip, K6LJL, Skip to give it to Bob, W9JIB, and Bob, please give it to Wayne, K6OQJ. K6ZTA, go ahead.
Okay, Rocco, thank you. Yeah, and definitely looking forward to the barbecue. Thanks for the heads up. We'll mark that off on the calendar, or circle it. We won't mark it off. Vaughn here, Victor Oscar November, and in Woodland Hills. And I'm using the 100V, driving the SB220. And I think I'm driving it to, probably about 800 watts. And, okay. And the receiver is the Drake 2B with gassy tubes. We'll get to that one of these days. So, the question of the evening. I've had a big, one of these fairly good-sized Weller guns for a long time. So, and that's my heavy duty. And I have a Weller pencil. Probably, I think it's about 25 watts. Maybe it's more than that. I don't remember. But it's not marked on the unit. Yeah, I toss the box. But I can't do very good soldering of anything nowadays because I have a trimmer, and I certainly couldn't do SMD. So that's out of the picture. But maybe we'll get our trimmer fixed. We've got some medical stuff we got to go through here. Anyway, with that, I will turn it over to Skip. And Skip, K6LGO, K6ZTA.
Okay, thank you very much, Ron. K6ZTA and the Village Sideband Roundtable Group. Good evening to all from K6LGO, Little Green Light in Santa Monica by the Bay. I'm on my 902DM here. And I was not too impressed with the Weller gun, so in my earlier career I used a WEN, W-E-N. It was that unfortunately the plastic housing for the WEN after being dropped a couple of times on the floor and being patched up that. But I liked it because it heated up about 3 times faster than the Weller. And there was a lot of building at that time, so a lot of connectors and coax cables and all kinds of other things, you know. So that was that. So the WEN, I never had a Weller. Also, I did have a couple of pencil, you know, types. But I use mostly Unger for small work, up to about 30 watts or down to 15 and 20 when you know, looking at really very small connections. And I have a Japanese pistol grip type of that goes about 30 watts. I do the heavier connections, but so a little bit of everything and a variety of tips for the Ungers. So that's my selection. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of the big Weller pistol grip or handheld. It was just too slow for me. I didn't have the patience to warm up. And then when the WEN worked out, I went to other manufacturers. So over to you there, Bob. WA9JIB and the group from the Village Sideband, K6LGL.
Okay, Skip. K6LGL, WA9JIB. You stole my thunder, Skip. We'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, this is Bob here in La Cañada. Beautiful day, a little warmer and dry. And I'm on my helicopter station, although I start with the MC50 microphone from Kenwood, and then into the HD32B for Bob, and the SX115 Bronco. You know these radios well, since I got them from you. And I do go through a tuner, an MFJ tuner I got from K2RP. Got the R48 speaker, antennas, inverted V dipole, hanging off a 35-foot mast. Okay, and I'm going to put April 22nd on my calendar for a spring barbecue, because it was so much fun last time. Let's see, my go-to soldering tool is a WEN gun, just like Skip. I have 3 of them. And 2 are in like new condition, and 1 has been dropped enough times that the plastic housing is broken. And guess which one I use? I use the broken one. Just for sentimental reasons, because that's the one that my dad taught me to solder on when I was a teenager. So someday I may use the other ones, but I still use that one, even though it's crazy and dangerous, but, you know, it's the one he taught me on. So WEN is my go-to soldering gun. I do have a couple of Weller stations. I think I got one at the Scarsmeet in Burbank a few years ago, you know, those ones with the kind of blue base. And then I have some other, those are irons, of course. I have some various other irons of various wattages. I got most of this stuff either at garage sales, inherited from my dad, or at, ham flea markets like Scars and things like that. So I also don't do SMD.
Most for me, it would be just because my eyes are just not that good, and I don't have any equipment with SSB stuff in it. So let's see. I do have one big one. I looked at it before the net to see if there was a name on it. I couldn't find it. It's about a foot long. There's a big broad tip on the end. I don't remember where I got it, Rocco. Probably came out of my uncle's Buick or something like that. And finally, this is one I don't have, but I've been getting ads on YouTube for this thing. I don't know why. Maybe just because I go to ham radio site. And it's, I think it's a gun, but the interesting thing about it, it has a solder feeding mechanism. You feed your spool of solder into it, and it keeps the solder moving to where whatever the terminal is you're trying to solder, which leaves your other hand free to do something else, like maybe hold a magnifier. I'm sure you guys can find it on the internet. I don't know the name, but it looks pretty cool. Anyway, that's what I can tell you, so I'm going to turn it over to KB6OQJ, WA9JIB.
Okay, thanks, Bob. This is Wayne, KB6OQJ up in San Ynez. And so far, everybody's coming in pretty darn well. And I don't have very much QRM at all. So anyhow, quickly running the S line tonight, 32S3, 75S33, and the 3001. So to the question, unfortunately I don't do a whole lot of soldering anymore. But I do have a Weller gun that I've had for years, but I haven't used that in a long, long time. For my everyday normal soldering, I use a Heiko FX88 station, which is pretty good with a small spade tip on it. And for heavier duty stuff, I have the Weller W-TCP pen or iron, and I think I bought that around 1973, but that's an old standby with about a 1/4-inch spade tip on it. And for the rare occasion I have to do real fine work, I have a Pace HW100 that somebody gave me, and it's a real nice iron. And then back in the old PL259 days, I had used a Weller SP80 iron and an SP120. Haven't used those in a long time. So other than that, that's all I got to the question. So back to you, Rocco, KB6OQJ.
Okay. Well, we're getting some really good suggestions here. Before I go further, does anybody else want to get on the list? Okay. The next four will be W6DQ, Dennis, take it, give it to Lisa, KF6QNG. Lisa, please give it to Chuck, N6AF. And Chuck, please give it to Max, KJ6HN. W6DQ, go ahead.
All right, Rocco, thank you very much. N6KN in the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable, W6DQ here. And looks like we're getting out now, I hope. Rocco, thanks for being the host this evening, and thanks to Bob for doing the early check-ins. Yeah, there was something weird going on with, and I thought it was my system here, because I've been having some problems tonight. I am unfortunately on a modern radio. I was firing up the KWM 380, and the KWM 380 is working just fine, but I must have something messed up in the cabling because I'm not getting any RF out, but it's generating RF, but it's not getting to the antenna, unfortunately. So we're running the Flex tonight, the 6700, and using that with the RE20 microphone. Alpha 87 amp out to our 160 meter full wave loop at 50 feet. Which is back in the air again, after being blown down again. Well, Rocco, it's an interesting question, and, I have a huge collection of soldering equipment. To do anything from, I do a lot of surface mount stuff. I do a lot of design and implementation of surface mount. And what Bob was using, the WESD51 Weller station, I use that a lot for doing surface mount. That works very well with a fine tip on it. I've also got a couple of WTCPs that I've had, like Well, like Wayne was just saying, I was just thinking back about the first one I probably got when I was in college, which was back around 1970 or 1971. So I've had that one a long, long time. I've got a couple of Weller irons that are, I've got two of them. One's 75 watts. The other one I believe is 90 watts. And those are only used for doing coax connectors. If I'm not doing crimp-ons, they're used for soldering the shields on PL259s or the Times microwave end connectors, which I really love using because they go on like a PL259. I also have a 100-watt American Beauty, which those are great irons. It's a really old one. I don't even know where I got that one from. It showed up one day. And I do have the requisite Weller gun, but I don't use it. It's a 150-watt Weller gun. Also for surface mount, I do reflow. I got a reflow oven that's home brew, using an old toaster oven, which is pretty common. A Hakko 808, which is a really nice desoldering tool. Now, they don't make that anymore. There's a model that replaced it, but those things are fantastic for desoldering. I won't embark on anything without that tool at hand. That's a go-to all the time. And last but not least, I've got an Extronic hot air rework station, a Model 4040, that also has a solder station, but I do not use it. I don't use the solder station, but I do use the hot air rework, and that's handy when you're doing surface mount. And also, as I think Bob mentioned, hot air rework is great for doing shrink tubing as well, and you can really concentrate the heat down in one little spot. But I've also got heat guns for doing heat shrink too. But that's the lineup. There's probably stuff I'm forgetting. Those are the primary ones that are on the bench and get used all the time. So there you go. Great question, and I'm hearing some great answers. I'm going to add one last thing, and I know I'm going long, but what I would really love to have is a good Metcal. Those things will run circles around any other soldering station if you're doing any kind of work. They're just fantastic. They're incredibly expensive. If anybody ever thought a Weller soldering station was expensive, the Metcals are ridiculous. So someday I will have a Metcal on my bench, but not right now. Anyway, thanks again to you, Rocco. Thanks to Bob, and I'm going to send it over to Lisa, KF6QNG. And the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable, W60Q, and here goes the squeaky mic stand.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Rocco, for hosting the roundtable this evening, and to Bob, AK6R, for taking the early list. Well, I've only done a very limited amount of soldering, so couldn't even tell you what I used, whatever Dennis did.
The WESP51 is what you used.
So, yeah, it was pretty neat. So, first time, I put together a little, I don't know, a little something, some kind of, some kind of,
I'm going to, guys. See you
kit. Yeah, sorry. My brain just froze. Anyway, so, Rocco, thanks for the information on the barbecue. We'll check our schedules, and if at all possible, we'll try to make it. So, with that, it goes over to Chuck, N6AF from KF6QNG.
All right, thanks for that. Nice to show the female gender on the microphone. You sound great. Yeah, I'll just keep it quick. But your great question. It brings back old novice operating memories. So imagine this: 150-watt iron with a metal cradle. On a rainy night, I climbed up on my father's rooftop to resolder some connections on my inverted V with a 100-foot extension cord. So that's the heavy stuff. But mostly my go-to is a Weller 40-watt for replacing, for example, planar type transistors and solid-state amps. And, like two SC 2879s and MRF 421s, that sort of thing. So that's mostly I use the smaller wattage. But the funny story is stomping around on my poor dad's roof. But anyway, so that's my answer. And I have to say something to Rocco. I'm from Los Angeles, but I live up here right now. But this is like the second barbecue I'm going to miss. And I almost want to move down there just to be able to come by. But if the timing works, I'll just show up, and it would be a lot of fun. But thank you very much, sir, to even offer that. That's just terrific. The camaraderie in the group is well appreciated. So, over to Matt. KJ6HN, this is N6AF.
Okay, KJ6HN here. Thank you, Chuck. N6AF, N6 audio frequency, or whatever works. KJ6HN here in Darwin, California. And weather is really nice today. It got up to 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Imagine that in the middle of winter. And we're probably going to get down into the high 20s, low 30s tonight. Well, soldering irons. I don't think that question's been asked. Oh, before I get back to that, Rocco, thanks for mentioning about the barbecue. I really want to try to make that. April 22nd, 11 a.m., Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable Barbecue. Yeah, that sounds great. I haven't walked over to where my calendar is. I'm a high-tech guy, but I keep all my appointments on a paper calendar that I use pen or pencil to write in. So, soldering irons. Well, great topic. Don't think it's been asked before. So, I've got two that I generally use. The heavy-duty one is the Weller 8200N, which is 2 speeds, 100 or 140 watts. And that one is absolutely superb for making coaxial connectors, soldering them onto coaxial cable. Usually I'll let it heat up until it comes to full temperature and start smoking hot, and then touch it to the, well, I have my own way of making coax connections. I think everybody does, but my way works really well. Anyway, I just touch it to the body of the PL259 and let it get good and hot and flow the solder in, and I've got a lifetime connection. And I have some that have lasted 30, 35, 40 years. It does a great job. My other soldering iron is also a Weller, Weller 1010, WE1010. Which is a temperature control station, which replaces one that I found in a dumpster behind Fisher Electronics back when I was in grade school. I still have it somewhere, but anyway, this newer Weller WE1010, solid state controlled, temperature controlled, really a nice soldering iron, and I've got several different tips for it, from surface mount devices all the way up to the heavier stuff. And it is, let's see, I'm looking at the specification table, and it doesn't say, but it's good for like probably 25 or 30 watts on the lowest setting, up to maybe 75 to 90 watts on the highest setting. Anyway, that is a really great soldering station and temperature controlled, and after it's been on for more than 20 or 30 minutes, it shuts down to a minimum and doesn't wreck the soldering tip with burning it out and having to then sand it down and flex it all over again. So that's a really great soldering iron. I can't praise that one high enough. So that's what I have to say about soldering irons here on the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable, and also the upcoming VSS Roundtable Barbecue. So great. And back over to Net Control, N6KN, and the group KJ6HN.
Okay, everybody. Boy, it's fun. Great answers. Okay, the next four will be Gary, WA7BIP. Please hand it to Dave, WI6R. Dave, please hand it to Dave, WJ6W. And Dave, hand it to Paul, K2LMQ. WA7BIP, go ahead, Gary.
Okay, thanks, Rocco. This is WA7BIP, Gary and Duarte. And we're at 50 degrees and heading for 46 low, so a lot warmer than Darwin. Anyway, very good topic tonight. And thanks, Bob, for taking the earlies, and good to see you out at the swap meet. And Rocco, thanks for the barbecue. That sounds great. And thank you for making it not the same day as the Claremont swap meet, assuming it's still going to be on with the problems that we might be having there. So, yeah, very good. Thanks a lot. We're running the Kenwood TS830S tonight, 200 watts out, and we're using every available feature of this radio. I'm truly impressed with it. I have an S9 plus 20 dB noise level, and fortunately it's shifted up 2 kilohertz tonight, and I've got the AGC off, the RF gain control back set. I'm using the passband tuning and the bandwidth control to kind of narrow everything down, and I threw the notch filter in there to kind of block that noise source, and everything's working great. So I'm surprised. I'm truly impressed with this radio. It came from totally unreadable to now I can hear a few people. So still looking for the source. I don't know what it is, but it seems to be east of me. It's gotten that far. And looking at neighbors' houses now. As to soldering stations, my favorite soldering station, Dennis mentioned it, is the Metcal. I have a Metcal, I think it's a PS2E. It's a single output. It's the older one. It's the tower one. The older ones are more reliable than the newer ones, so if you can find an old one, grab it. And I use it with a 1/4-inch chisel tip, and that'll solder anything. It'll solder to your Drake chassis. It'll solder to coax connectors. It'll burn your fingers off. It'll do everything. We operate by using 13.58 megahertz RF that they have a power amplifier, and they send it down to the tip. They sense the load and adjust the power level to give you the right temperature out there. It's pretty fancy soldering station. I love these things. And I've turned around and I've used them on surface mount. And if you have a fine tip probe, I've started off when we got these things 1206 sizes, then went 0805, then 0603. And I got smaller than that. I just kind of gave up on doing surface mount myself because it's too tiny. Anyway, the cost of the things are, like Dennis mentioned, they're very expensive. I've been able to find them at swap meets from $20 to eBay at $350. The tips are expensive, and pretty much you take your chances buying used ones. The used ones will go for like $30, $40, and the new ones I kind of lost track. I think the last new one I bought was like $100. So the tips are expensive. You don't want to leave this thing on the bench cooking, although when it just sits there idle, the temperature goes way down on it. It's not like a weller which sits there and pumps the heat to the tip. And what else can I add? Oh, the bases are the unobtainium piece, because the towers get tossed out, the probes kind of follow at the tip, but the bases are no longer made. So if you find a base, hang on to it and put it on the swap meter on eBay, and you'll make a lot of money off of it. And what do you say I'll cast some of those bases, and I'll have a few extras. But that's it. So that's my favorite. I've got Wellers and everything else here too, but the Metcal is A1 for me. Over to Dave, WI6R. This is WA7BIP.
Okay, thanks, Gary. WA7BIP and the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable. This is Dave, WI6R, coming from Kingman, Arizona. Tonight we're running the usual
Dennis 3 line and 30L1 to our open ring vertical. Not real strong here tonight, Gary, but an amazing number of 30/9 signals here from many of you tonight. Rocco, thanks for hosting the roundtable tonight, and Bob for taking the early check-ins. I think John suggested Bob's QSB might refer to quietly searching for beer, but I think it really was some QSB. It was up and down 20 dB at least. So sticking to the specific question of the evening, it's about big irons for soldering can electrolytics and the center conductor of my crimp SO239s. I use a Weller W-100. It's something I've had for 30, maybe 40 years. However, I couldn't find it a few years ago when I was getting ready to replace an old can electrolytic. In desperation, I went looking for a new one. Finally, I found it. Not for our idea of soldering, but for soldering stained glass. Well, it cost about $100 then. As soon as I received it, of course, I found my original one, so I still have a brand new one in its package. Today, however, you can find it right now on Amazon for $69. It doesn't come with a stand, so mine is still made out of a bent piece of old-fashioned coat hanger wire that's bent to suit. It works. It's been doing its job for many, many years. Regarding the barbecue, by the way, that's the same weekend as the DX convention in Visalia, unfortunately, so I won't be able to make it because I'm required to be there. So I'm sorry I'm going to miss it. We always enjoy those events, and maybe we'll be able to do it next year. So with that, over to Dave, WJ6W from WI6R.
Well, thank you, Dave. WI6R, WJ6W. Dave here in Tarzana, and thank you for Rocco. Good question tonight. And the barbecue, I'm going to try to make it this year. This will be fun. So looking forward to that. Thanks for planning to host it this year again. We're running the Drake C line tonight and 30L1 amplifier, putting out about 500 watts peak here. And on the question, a very good question, a lot of interesting answers there. What I have, the latest thing I have that's pretty much replaced everything else I've used is a Chinese soldering station, and I wasn't really too sure how well it would work, but the price was right, so I tried it, and I'm pretty happy with it. It has, of course, a temperature-controlled pen with many tips from tiny up to reasonably, well, not really large, but kind of medium-sized. And it has a hot air gun for SMD rework, which I haven't tried. I'm a little hesitant to do that, but like others, I use it for heat shrinking, and it really works great. It also has a 0 to 15 volt 3 amp variable power supply, DC power supply, which is real handy on the bench. It has a USB charging port, which I never have used, but anyway, it's a Chinese, and I don't know how to pronounce it, Yihua or something, YIHUA 853D, and it costs about $150. And I just checked, that's about what they cost yet. So I think for that price, it was really worth the money. So it's been good for me. For things like UHF connectors, I use a Heiko, about an 80-watt iron. The reason I use that, it has a wider tip than the stuff on the soldering station. That seems to work better for me for UHF connectors. And I have an assortment of small Wellers that I no longer really use, unless I'm trying to do something behind the rack or something, and I don't want to move the soldering station over. That's one of the disadvantages of a soldering station, is a pain to move to a location next to some wiring or something. Anyway, so that's my experience, and I'll send it over to Paul. K2LMQ WJ6W.
Thank you, Dave. WJ6W and the Vintage Sideband Roundtable, K2LMQ, Paul in Kingman, Arizona. Well, good on everybody, solid copy, and conditions have been pretty good tonight. I'm on the Yaesu FT101B that I bought new in the 1960s, giving it a little exercise into the 30L1, about 500 watts peak, something like that, and the inverted V is at 75 feet. With regard to the soldering irons, soldering it over the last number of years has been very difficult for me, but I managed somewhat, and on the situations where it's very tiny and hard to get into, my wife does that for me. She's pretty good at soldering herself. So for the big one, the big stuff I can do, I have the Weller D55U, which is I think 250 or 280 and 325 watts. And for the smaller stuff, I have an 8200 Weller, which is 140 watts. It works out pretty good. And have some of the smaller Weller little early mini stations. I don't think I have bought any equipment for soldering other than solder for the past 25 years, and everything that I got was used and came from a Hamfest. But I can get the job done, but it's just very difficult, and I have the little bit of the shakes here, and so as I said, when I get into a very tight situation, she steps in and handles it for me. Let's see. The weather here, I'll tell you, it's since a lot of the rain went, it's been absolutely gorgeous and runs in the 50s during the day, but tonight it'll be down around 25 or something like that, and but it's nice. It's just been beautiful lately. Let's see. I had one other thing to say here, whatever it is. It's going to stay that way. Anyway, good to hear everybody. Everybody sounded great tonight, and I will send it back to Bob. So back to you, Bob, and thank you, and thank Rocco for running the show tonight. Good to hear everybody. AK6R, K2LMQ.
Okay, let me pick it up. Okay, Paul, everybody, boy, I'm learning all kinds of stuff tonight that I didn't know. All right. Before I go further, anybody else trying to get on the list? Go ahead. Okay. Matthew, N4DLA, take it and give it to Brian, NI6Q. Brian, please give it to Jay, NY6L. N4DLA, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. This is Matthew, N4DLA. I'm in the city of Orinda, California, about 15 miles east of San Francisco. Atlas 210X, transceiver, 100 watts out, into a 75-meter coaxial dipole, sloping down from about 60 feet. Shure Triple 4 microphone. And as far as soldering equipment, the N4DLA station, I have a Weller soldering gun, or an 82 model 8250A, made in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. And it's probably almost as old as I am. It came in a metal box. Has a metal box, the Weller soldering kit, 8250 Alpha Kilo. And my father, KF6CVA, was stationed temporarily in Puerto Rico. I was a commissioned officer in the Public Health Service. I don't know if you picked that up there or not. I've had it a long time. I also have a soldering iron. It is unmarked. I've had it since I was first licensed in 1977. And so that's the soldering arsenal there. So over to Brian, NI6Q. They're outside of Flagstaff and the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable. This is N4DLA.
Stand by for a sec.
Somebody's throwing a big carrot.
Well, it's probably much better now without the carrier and everything. All right? All right, this is NI6Q here. I was on AM for a while there, and good to be on board. Thank you, Rocco, for hosting tonight, and interesting question. Indeed, I'm learning a lot of things myself as well. Brian here, the QTH is in Flagstaff, Arizona, close to, I'm in the Gallen Prairie here, and there's a lot of snow, a lot of snow. Haven't seen that in probably a couple of decades here, from what I hear. And so we're going to have a nice spring and very nice springtime, I guess. We shall see. All right, to the question, yes. But first, I'm using the 75A4 tonight as a receiver. The transmitter is a Albico SSB 100M, which is the military version of the piece. I'm using a 30S1 linear, a little more power there so that you can hear me. And the antenna is a doublet. So there we go. And it's the ladder line is heavily under the snow, and it makes no difference. So for the questions, I use all kind of weather, soldering irons, temperature controls, digital stuff, all this and that and all that. I also have the very old weathers when it comes to soldering something much bigger and things like that, And I moved to a torch myself also when I have something really big, to solder. And using the right material, I always found it was kind of easier for me, anyway. So that's the answer to the question. It's a very good question, as a matter of fact, and I got kind of interested into Dave's proposition of that particular Chinese set there. So I'm going to take a look. It's interesting to see it even has a USB adapter and things like that, and power supply. I can't believe it, so, but we can make a list of what it's missing, like, I don't know, use your imagination. So anyway, I'll pass it over to NY6L. We'll be listening out. Good to hear you all, and propagation was really good tonight. NY6L, over to you, Jay. This is NI6Q, Flagstaff.
NY6L. Jay, are you still on board? I think we've lost him. Okay. Well, one last call. Anybody else want to give it a shot?
WA6JUS.
WA6, what was that, JUS? Take one. What's the name there?
The name is John. So Henry Nancy and Claremont, Green Mesa, San Diego on the DX100. The West 41 Weller and the old soldering iron to temperature. And a big Bertha, we call it, for the antenna work. I think that's probably the usual, and a lot of it came from Swapney. Sure enough, I think that's how it goes. Got a question, is Steve SYD on frequency? Otherwise, I'll turn it back to you. Back to that, this is WA6JUS.
Okay, John, who is it you're looking for?
KF6SYD.
SYD, are you on frequency? I guess not, John. But thanks for checking in. All right.
Thank you.
Well, boy, the Golden Cup Award, this is a toughie. We had so many great answers. Dennis, I'm going to give it to you because who else is crazy enough to use a homebrew reflow oven made out of a microwave? And I know we have a lot of crazy people on this net, but that's a good one. So I'm going to give it to you. W6DQ, what do you say? You get the golden cup.
Well, Rocco, thank you so much. Let's see if I can get this thing to work. Yeah, I keep faulting out the amplifier, but let's see if I can get a little bit more poop here. See if we can do something with that. Nope. Oh well, I don't know. Well, thank you. Yeah, I inherited that. It was somebody else made it, and I ended up with it. But it's a toaster oven rather than a microwave oven, and that's a fairly common thing that people do. Makers and what have you that are doing surface mount. That tends to be a fairly common thing to start with. Is an old defunct toaster oven. And you have a temperature curve that you have to run it through when you do the reflow. You have to ramp it up and then leave it at a certain temperature for a while. Then you ramp it down and all this good stuff. But it's kind of a kick. You know, it's not all automatic and it doesn't have a timer or anything on it. You got to sit there and watch it and time it. But it does the job. And I don't know. It's a lot of work. I'd rather just use the little Weller iron to do the surface mount. I think it's a little bit easier, except for the really tiny stuff. And I'm going to add that I just bought myself online an old Metcal that's complete with the Gary will like this because it's got the iron, it's got the tips, it's got the stand, and the tips are all brand new, and the price was right, so I grabbed it. And so that's another iron that will be in the stable here. Rocco, thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you in April at the barbecue, and I think we'll probably be there. But we'll say 7-3, and thanks so much. N6KN W6DQ. Back to you.
And I thought you were going to say you're going to put another iron in the fire, but. Nobody picked up on that. You know, the really old ones, I think that's how you did it. You know, you had a fire and you put the iron in it until it got red hot and whip it out, do your soldering, and stick it back. All right, guys, that was fun. And thank you so much for participating. We had a big turnout today and hope to see as many of you as can make it at our barbecue. It will be a good time had by all, and a good swap meet too. Okay, N6KN is closing down the Vintage SSB Roundtable, and adios to all.
I should have done something like that instead of what I did, but anyway, I had that 6-wall square tubing sitting out there. The bracket probably weighs, the square tubing that I got on the front of